watched my last video about my solo trip to London, I mentioned that I would be taking a trip with my vacation time as a teacher, my winter break, that I'd be going somewhere and that it was somewhere in the United States, but I didn't want to say where and I didn't want to say when, just safety purposes, and I didn't want people discouraging me and poo-pooing on, oh, California this, California that. So I said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do the Los Angeles thing and then I'll post about it afterwards. So now clearly I'm back, and clearly Capo is back too. Did everyone miss Capo? She says hi. I missed her so bad, and I could tell that her and Funzy, they missed me too, even then she's acting like she didn't. But I am back, and so hopefully on a regularly scheduled program, trying to do the Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing as best I can. But I wanted to talk about my trip because it was an interesting experience. I feel like it was a very comedic experience in all the ways. You guys know I love comedy and I love laughing, but it's like, okay, God, you're funny. So LA, well, let me back it up. I'm a I say southern gal. I live in Central Florida, but to me, I'm an East Coast southern gal. I grew up in North Florida, outside of Jacksonville, in a tiny town called Green Cove Springs. And it's close to Georgia, very, very southern. So that's where I'm coming from. So the West Coast, that is a whole different vibe and lifestyle, right? But I wanted to check it out. I'm in entertainment, as you guys know. I'm a singer, I'm a musician, I'm an actress, I'm a comedian, I'm an improviser, I'm all of it. So I thought Los Angeles is one of the great hubs, aside from, New York City. Chicago's got a lot going on, especially in the comedy scene. But LA for sure. Big entertainment and social media. I should add, I'm a content creator. There's a lot of content creators out west. And so I thought, you know what? It's sort of a last minute thing, but something that had been on my heart. I'm just gonna book a flight. I'm gonna go out there. Because I kept seeing things everywhere that would say Los Angeles, Hollywood, just to the point where it was getting ridiculous. And I thought, I don't know if this is a sign. Hi, Capo. She's back. Even this was kind of crazy. I even remembered there was a day in school, and this was last year when I actually just started, oh, she's rubbing on me. When I started having this thought, because sometimes you start with, it's sort of like a seed, a little start of something, a thought, and then it grows and grows and grows until it just bursts, right? And I was just to the point over the break, it burst. So I was starting to have that thought, and I was starting to see the words Los Angeles everywhere, and LA, and California, and I just thought, oh my gosh. But one day at school, because as many of you know, I'm a teacher, middle school teacher, and I do special education, so I support the classroom teacher, and I was in an English class, and they're reading a novel. And the teacher she was playing aloud, where they read aloud to the students through this program. And in the book, the state was Colorado. But for some reason, the lady that read it said California instead of Colorado. And I thought, oh, that was weird. Did I just imagine that in my head? But then a student goes, it says Colorado here. Why did she say California? And I thought, okay, this is getting freaky now. It felt like maybe God was calling me out to California. So I decided to finally, I saved up some money. I'm going to go out there because it was expensive, to say the least, just to even be there, just for a few days. Oh, she missed me. She missed you guys. And so I got there, and I only had a few things on my itinerary, really. I really wanted to see sort of like the West Hollywood area. I knew I wanted to see a show, and because every time I take a trip, I go to see, I partake in theater. And so the first thing I wanted to do the next day after I got there, and then I spent the night at my hotel, but then so when I got there, the first thing I did is I drove to Malibu. I drove along the Pacific Coast Highway. I wanted to see the Pacific Ocean. next to the mountains. Absolutely stunning, beautiful, because in Florida we have beautiful beaches, but we don't have the mountains next to the beaches. So it's really neat juxtaposition. But it was very busy, and I'm somebody, if I go to the beach, I like it to be secluded and quiet and peaceful. So I thought, I don't know if I could enjoy these beaches. I guess you'd have to go maybe when there aren't a lot of people, or find a spot. I don't know how that works out there. So that was absolutely beautiful. And then I had dinner out there, and everybody super friendly that I talked to. Like I sat at the bar at one of the restaurants, and the bartender was super duper nice, gave me some tips and tricks. And then the next day I said, okay, I'm going to hike up to the Hollywood sign. This is just a goal I had for myself. I wasn't sure where it came from. I just thought it could be kind of a fun adventure to hike up there. Well, wouldn't you know, it was cold, it was rainy, and it was super foggy. So I couldn't see anything anywhere. So I'm driving around. I get to where I was going. Oh, Capo's rubbing on the tripod. I get to where I was going to park and then walk up there, and I just was so gross outside. And I thought that I might not even be able to see anything worthwhile in the view. Of course, when I get up there, it's not gonna be anything special because it's gonna be fog. And so I turned around and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to Mulholland Drive, and she loves this tripod. And I'm just gonna drive there. Because I remember Jim Carrey mentioning he went there and he used to envision himself being successful and all this stuff. And I thought, I'm going to see where Jim Carrey, where he went. And of course, I'm driving up there and I see the scenic overview. And I think, okay, well, I'll just see, maybe I could see something here. Maybe the fog is dissipated. Nope. Still can't see anything. It's just a wall of fog. It's just complete white clouds in my face. And I thought, okay, I'm 2 for 2 of not seeing anything of note here so far, aside from, of course, driving by the beaches. When it was starting to dusk, it was starting to get dark at that point. I couldn't see it really well like I would want to. So I thought, this is so funny. I'm going to drive. I started to drive actually to San Diego because I thought maybe if I get out of here and I go somewhere else, because I will say I was surprised, and you guys, if you're from Los Angeles, let me know what's going on with your city. I was surprised along the highways there was a lot of trash and graffiti, and that part made me sad because I thought, oh no, Los Angeles could be so beautiful with these mountains and these beaches, but it looks like people aren't taking care of the city and they don't care, and so that really made me sad. But I thought, okay, so I'm gonna drive somewhere else. So I drove through like Anaheim and I forget the names of the towns through there, but I didn't quite make it to San Diego. I was like, you know what? I need to get back in time because I had a ticket to see a show at the Groundlings Theater, improv sketch comedy theater that they cultivate a lot of talent for Saturday Night Live, or SNL as they say nowadays, mostly SNL. So that's something I've always wanted to go see, the Groundlings, and go there. But I had to make it back in time. I thought, LA traffic's crazy. I better not push it. And so I ended up turning around before I got to San Diego, and went back to my hotel where I could freshen up and get ready for the show. And I had a little bit of time, and finally, right before the show, the clouds were starting to dissipate. The sun was coming out, and I thought, okay, I can at least try to see the Hollywood sign from a distance. From a distance, like Bette Midler sings. And so I drove, actually before that, on my way back, yes ma'am, oh my goodness. I drove to Beverly Hills because I want to see the Beverly Hills sign. And I drove to the wrong Beverly Hills sign. I rented a car, I should say, so it's probably obvious. And by the time I passed it and I looked back, because I'm driving, I can't really look too much. There was something obstructing my view. I said, well, I couldn't see anything. And I thought, well, this trip's just hilarious, right? You just gotta roll with the punches. And so so that happened. And then eventually I was able to drive. I forgot which. I went to Lake Hollywood Park. That's where I went to just see the Hollywood sign from a distance. And that was absolutely beautiful, but actually prettier than I thought it was going to be, and just more profound. As somebody that grew up watching a lot of movies and someone that's in entertainment, I thought this was really inspiring. But there were a lot of people, and I'm not a big fan of crowds and lots of people, so I didn't get out of my car. I just kind of drove and I was looking like, oh, that's really cool and really pretty, but also trying to watch the road at the same time. And the roads are narrow and winding, but oh my gosh, there were so many people. And that's why I was going to try to get up there. I got there like 7 or 8 in the morning thinking I could beat the crowds, but the fog was just so crazy. So by the time I did get there, it was in the afternoon and it was crowded. So I briefly saw that, took a picture from when I was at a red light. I took a picture from my rear view mirror of the sign because it's all I could get. I couldn't get a picture of it while I was driving, obviously. And I didn't get a lot of pictures from my trip because I was driving the whole time. I was constantly driving everywhere, which I figured out if I'm going to be in LA, I'll do the LA experience and I'll just be in my car forever. Which, as somebody from Florida who lives outside of my main city, I drive all the time anyway. So when people say, oh, you got to drive so much in LA, I'm thinking, I do this normally. This is not a big deal to me. But I guess if you're from a city with public transit, it probably is a shock to your system. But for me, it's like, just another day in Florida, basically. Just on the West Coast. And so I got to the Groundlings Theater, and that's where I got to take all my pictures because I finally was stopped, I was parked, and I was just in heaven. That, for me, my friends, like I said in the London video, the theater experience was the highlight of my trip there. This theater experience was the highlight of my trip in California. I got to see Bob Odenkirk of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul fame. He created a show that's family-friendly, children appropriate. I think it's called the Not Inappropriate Show or something like that. And all the proceeds go to a foundation that helps children learn to write and writing. And so I thought that was super cool. I thought, I gotta support this. And so I went to the show and it was just amazing. I love the Groundlings cast is just brilliant. The sketches were hilarious. I laughed so hard. And it was just so inspiring to see people doing such amazing character work. As someone that does improv and sketch myself and is big into characters, it just was so inspiring. And actually one of the girls in the cast recently got into the SNL cast, so it was cool to see her live. And I also got to see I think his name's David Cross, the guy that plays the guy that says I got blued, I blued myself with the glasses in Arrested Development. He was in the audience, and so that was cool. I'm sure he's an alumni probably, or a friend of Bob's, something. But it's neat to see people in the industry out and about doing their thing. And so that was just so flippin' cool. And then pretty much the next day I had to leave. I didn't stay long at all. I just wanted to pop in, get the feel for the city, and then pop out. But so yeah, that's where I went. That's what I did. And it was a really interesting experience. Like I said, the theater, favorite part. Without that, I probably would be just thinking, wow, I didn't really do or see a whole lot. But that's okay. I probably should have consulted people from the area to figure out kind of more so where to go, because I think there's just so many different neighborhoods, and I I pretty much stayed in western, I guess, was that northwest LA? Or just the western part of LA. So I'm sure, yes, Miss Capo, I'm sure I probably missed quite a bit, but it was neat seeing the homes on the mountains. Again, as somebody from Florida, everything is flat here, which I don't mind. I think I like the flatness. But that was really interesting. So yeah, that was my Los Angeles experience, and I'm glad that I got to do it. My second solo trip. Actually think next, and I don't think this is going to be solo because my brother wants to go too, so maybe I'll go with him. I think my next trip will probably be Nashville, which I'm excited. If you've been to Nashville, let me know where to go, what to see. As somebody that's a music lover, musician myself, I would love to get tips and tricks. But I'm just trying to go all over and see all kinds of places in the U.S., outside of the U.S. I just want to travel more. So that is the goal. And Miss Capo is being lovey-dovey. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Capo appreciates it. Right, Capo? Say yes. And please take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.